Thank you for your interest in SMTD's bus stop optimization plan. This short presentation includes why we're doing this program, goals for the program, standards we're using, how we plan to implement the program, and the timeline. Optimal spacing avoids too much space between bus stops and also avoids overlap of bus stops where the bus stops too often and causes a slower travel time. A good example of SMT system is Route 2 North 9th route. The route has over 100 bus stops and it takes an hour to run. It runs every 30 minutes, but it also has a high incidence of 2-minute holds called by the driver. Those holds cause all the other routes to wait for passengers on Route 2 to make the transfers. By studying the route, we see that 20 to 25% of stops could possibly be consolidated into industry standards to improve run times without noticeable impact on passengers. This map illustrates how lots of the bus stops on Route 2 are spaced right now, with the colors indicating which would be removed and which would remain after consolidation. The goal we're trying to achieve is fewer stops, which mean faster and on-time service, and also it prepares us for a system-wide overhaul of our bus stop signs. With new signs, we hope to achieve better visual appeal, more information, including what routes use what stop, what major stops are along the route, and possibly the implementation of QR codes. Nationwide standards gathered from a number of publications show that downtown areas typically have 600 feet between bus stops, urban areas typically 700 feet, and suburban areas typically have 1,000 feet between bus stops. Looking at two of our fixed routes, we see that Route 1 has 47 existing stops, 24 of which are under 500 feet, and another 14 of which are under 400 feet. There's even one that's less than 135 feet from the next closest stop. Route 2, which has 101 existing bus stops, has 25 under 400 feet, 25 between 401 and 500 feet, and 2 that are less than 170 feet apart. In the early part of the program, we focused mainly, but not exclusively, on suburban portions of the routes. Route 1, we eliminated 12 to 14 stops, which resulted in an average of 772 feet and was a reduction of 25 to 30% of the overall stops on that route. On Route 2, we eliminated 25% of the stops. Using these routes as an average over 16 fixed routes, SMTD could eliminate 200 to 300 of roughly 1,300 bus stops system-wide. These changes would be well within industry standards. To implement the optimization program, first we gather data on our bus stops. We go out into the field and evaluate those stops, looking at all of the details involved with each stop. We look at the proposed stops for consolidation. We review those internally by staff. The proposal goes to public comment. We make adjustments. The proposal goes to the managing director for his approval, and then the program is implemented by maintenance. Special considerations are also given to service areas like medical districts, businesses, and residential areas. We also look at accessibility. We receive input from drivers, staff, the public, and the managing director before any changes are made. The timeline of the project has the drafting already completed. The board approved the project last July. Routes 1 and 2 near the State Fair were scheduled to be done and were completed in July and August of 2015. The remaining system, a minimum of one route per month through the calendar year 2016. The end of the project report is currently scheduled for January 9th, 2017. As of March of 2016, we have completed 4 routes, routes 1, 2, 3, and 11, and one route, Route 7, West Washington, is currently in the public comment phase. Following consolidation along the first 2 routes, Route 1 North 5th and Route 2 North 9th, 2-minute holds called by drivers on those routes were down 50%. Complaints from passengers have been very rare. Some notable changes proposed for Route 7 West Washington include 3 stops near the start of the route that simply update our data after previous route changes eliminated those stops. A new sign would also be added at Adams and Lewis, and 2 stops between First and College on Adams would be removed where currently there are 3 stops in just a 1-block area. Along West Washington, stops on either side of the street at State, English, and Illinois would be removed and consolidated with stops 1 block away in each case. For the safety of our passengers, the outbound stop at Fair Hills Mall would be moved slightly east to a flatter area. Further west, inbound West Washington stops at Dickinson and mid-block between Dickinson and Cartwright would be consolidated to the new shelter just east of Dickinson. Finally, also for safety, the current inbound stop at Clock Tower and Monroe would be moved approximately 100 yards north from the intersection where traffic backs up across Monroe. Further south along Route 7, stops at Cascade on West White Oaks Drive would be removed and consolidated with stops just 200 feet away at Headley. The current stop at Walmart on Lindbergh would be moved east to mid-block, and that stop and the stop at Lindbergh and Freedom Drive, just a couple hundred feet away, would be consolidated into that mid-block stop. The time check currently at Walmart would be moved to the stop at Target on Constitution to reduce exposure to the heavy traffic on Lindbergh. We're also considering making the stop at the shelter in front of Office Max on West Isles an inbound-only stop. Finally, inbound along Monroe, stops at Parker, Lewis, and First Street would be eliminated to reduce the number of stops in that 5-block area from 7 down to 4. Thank you for taking the time to visit our website and to provide any feedback that you might have. To help us improve, use this form on the website to submit feedback on the route currently under review, Route 7 West Washington. Thanks again, and thank you for using SMTD.